Seems like every year there's a new brake pad design. All right, I bought the right rotors. It's a miracle. Ugh. All right, while you got your old pads in there, go ahead and get your caliper positioned right. So fluid's going to be going back up into the master cylinder. So take your time on this. Great, this is fucking coming apart already. A big C-clamp works good. On this one, it's hard to get the C-clamp to sit flat back there, so this caliper tool's well worth getting. Let the caliper reposition its porting fluid back into the master cylinder. Then you'll know when it bottoms out, because you're not going to be able to turn this anymore. And that's about it. 2022. Look, what the hell is this shit? This stinks too. Jeez. Did I buy the right stuff? Okay, there's the location of these. Looks impressive. These are definitely right and left sensitive, so keep that in mind. Do not discard. I don't want to get in any trouble, so I'm keeping this. All right, wheel rotation. And there's the illustration. All right, these are different clearances, so there's 4 of each. 10 thousandths, 25 thousandths, 20, and 15. So we'll figure out what the best clearance is. So wheel rotation, as this is gripping, this is going to jam down into the spindle. So you definitely want to get your left and rights figured out. I'm going to do that in private. Alright, when your wheel is rotating, this is rotating with it. When that caliper grabs, it's going to be jammed up against this, so that's where you want the clips on the top. Some applications the caliper might be on the other side, in which case it's going to go and hit the bottom. Alright, so the one in the back, that's 30 thousandths. Oh no, that's 35. $35 in the back, and the front one is 15, which is the max on this. So the only way to get a really good measurement with the feeler gauges was to completely install it. Once installation was done, 25 in the forward and about 23 in the back. So 10,000 shims are going to be required on each side. So on this one, the wheel rotation and the location of the caliper, that is your impact on this side. The way the drawing is in the little pamphlet, those were mounted forward, driving it down. So you can see where people can get confused. So tomorrow we'll put the tires on this and road test it. Alright, after thinking about it, I realized it'd be a good idea just to change the guide pins and bolts and the rubber boots. So here's a way you can fuck up. One side requires 2 pins and 2 bolts, and that comes as a kit. So you need 2 if you're going to do both sides, which you will be doing both sides. No one does one fucking side. So this comes in 2 boxes, but when you buy the rubber boots, it comes as 1. And the other thing is this kit says it's 2 sets. Well, 2 sets for 1 fucking caliper. Anyway, I just had to have this discussion with the guy at the auto parts store and explain to him that I need 2 sets. But hey, he sold me some grease, so we're even. All right. There's our old pins. And then that little groove is where the boot sits. So the caliper repositions on these guide pins. They're not in bad shape, but the boots are sure worn out. New bolts and pins. All right, you can take a C-clamp, pop this pad out, and position that so that it, as you tighten it, it compresses the pad on the caliper. This tool is designed exactly for this job. So as you're pushing that puck back into the caliper, it's porting fluid back up into the master cylinder. And it's porting it through little orifices, little fucking holes, okay? So it takes a while for that fluid pressure to, so take your time on this. Like right now, that's tight, but I can see that it still has all this distance to go. This thing's gonna be pretty much flat up against this metal when we're done. Sometimes it's better just to walk away and let it, the fluid dynamics happen. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let that just reposition. Well, I thought this side was finished. Old bolts. There's where our shims went, and I used Molly B on this. This is the impact side of the caliper. When it grabs the rotor, it's going to turn with it and hit here. You don't want these rattling around. This is where you're going to put the silicone grease that I just bought. Old pins. What the heck? Great, that fell into the U-joint. Now these boots are definitely worn out. Man. All right, this side found the machine groove for the other side, and it won't let go. Come on. Ah. There we go. All right, this is the waterproof grease. We're going to put half on one side and half on the other. Here's our load bearing edge on the knuckle. And then you're not going to put this on your shelf and get it back out later, so you use all of it. There's a good spot where that's rubbing. And then I'm going to put the rest on the bolts. We'll put the rest on the bolts. That'll be the end of that little packet. It'll definitely be easier installing this with the new guide pins and boots. Last night these kept repositioning. Right there's where it's gonna mount to the knuckle. So this side has the grooves in it with the spacers. We measured and we needed 10 thousandths over here. This is to prevent noise. So that groove needs to match up here with this So a lot of stuff is happening here. You have to have your caliper compressed enough. This needs seated in there good. The pin and boot need pulled back far enough to get it over the knuckle. While you're trying to do all that, the pads are repositioning. Alright, I'm going to hold this rotor here with my knee, but you could run a lug down, or lug down there if you wanted. Make sure that's positioned back far enough to get over the knuckle, and then you want to line these grooves up here. And your caliper needs to be all the way back, especially on a brand new rotor installation. So with my knee holding that in, and our new brake pads in the impact area of the knuckle, and our new pins and boots in position, that goes right into place. If you can't get it in, one of those areas we just talked about, it's not in the correct position, don't fight it, man. Just take it back apart. The new bolts are a different size. Alright, the new bolts are 12 millimeter. You can pop these off with air tools, but do not run these down with your air tools. The torque on this is 20 to 30 foot-pounds. I had my son out, he must have been about 6 years old. No, he was 8, because it was a 2000 Chrysler Sierra, brand new. And he stripped out the threads as an 8-year-old, so it's easy to do. So with the stripped out threads, we went to an oversized bolt, and of course then the caliper never repositioned right. Alright, so that bolt now is a 12. Now we got to reduce down from 3/8 to a half. So you can see the mechanical advantage now I'm going to have with this. So the opportunity to completely fuck this up is very great. There's 20. There's 25. There's 20. There's 25. Okay, back over here. So that puck is still not positioned right. Fluid dynamics. Let that fluid go back up into the master cylinder. So with this tool better positioned, it's working like a champ now. Spoke too soon. Anyway, I forgot about the pin that I dropped into the U-joints. Let's go take a look and see where that ended up. Alright, it didn't fall into the U-joints. Here it is. If I would have forgot that, wouldn't have caused too much damage, I don't think. All right, a little bit more to go. Now that's just about bottomed out now. So visually you can see that that's at the bottom. And this isn't turning anymore, so that's all she wrote. Ah, crap. All right, to measure your gaps, I'm just going to have to install it temporarily. New rotors for me all the time. I just don't have time to go to the machine shop two or three times. So whether to turn your rotors or not is a matter of economics to you, but always take into account your time. Maybe consider gas mileage to get to the machine shop 2 or 3 times. Okay, back here the pin's not positioned right. Ouch. The wheel rotation, when this grabs it, it's going to be forced up by the rotation of this as it's slowing it down. So this is your impact side. The little diagram that talks about these clips shows the caliper mounted in the front, in which case it would grab, and the bottom portion there would be your impact. All right. There's just no way around it. To get a good measurement, we're going to have to temporarily install this. All right, the feeler gauges aren't even going in, so tightening these all the way down was a bad idea. Let's leave those a little bit loose. There we go. So I got out my 20, 30, 25, and 35. And with them, I'm going to figure out what shim I should use. All right, just work in increments of 5. So here's our 10. That fits in there just fine. Let's jump up to 20. $20 fits in there. Let's go to 25. 25 will not go in there. Well, it does go in there, but you have to force it. So this one we're going to call 25. Okay, back here 20 won't go in. $20 won't go in, but it almost goes in. Let's jump down to 15. Okay, 15 goes in there. Let's go up to 20 again. $20's in there. Let's go to 25 again. Okay, 25 will not go in there, but it's close. So let's go back down to 20. $20's in there. So 20 in the front and 25 in the back. All right, so the back one's 25, the front one's 20. We want to end up at 10 to 15. Nobody said there'd be any math in this shit. Here's our 10s. We put a 10 on the front and back. The back one will be at 15, which is within limits. The front one will be at 10. Which is the other end of within limits. Or I could put a 15 and have them both at the bottom end. Decisions. I'm going to just use the 210s. Your load edge, pull it out from the bottom. All right, here's our 10s. And if you mix them up, they put 10 on the side. They could have got mixed up when they assembled this package. Anyway, we're going to put our silicone water resistant on these. And those go in like that. Put our water resistant in there. And that goes in like that. This is a good place for the rest of this, is back here. Oops. All right, this is the load bearing part of the knuckle. And this is where the noise rattle can come from. Put a little down here too. Use all of it. It's not going to do you any good in the trash. All right, my pins, make sure these are back. Using my knee to hold that rotor in place. For number 10, spacers. Running my mouth, I didn't save any grease for this fucking bolt. Son of a bitch. Oh well. We'll put some Molly B on these. All right, instead of my knee, I'm going to use that little trick. So that's tightening up on me a little bit quick. What the hell? God damn it. This was just on here. That's your running torque. $20 to $30, and I just loosened it. There's 20. Let's bring them both down together. There's 20 on the bottom. 20 to 30, I'm going to 25. $25. $25. $25. $25. And that completes the Jeep XJ front brake pad and rotor installation. I honestly didn't think that would take that long, but that's it.